Hello everybody, it's HG Shaves here. I'm back with another video. Hope this finds you well and in good health and good spirits, all those things. Today, just sort of a simple shave for you, but the two items that I'll be featuring were gifts from people, so I do want to acknowledge and thank them. Let's start with the razor. So if you're a gem user, then you might think, that looks a lot like a gem Featherweight. And you would be right that it is a featherweight, but in this case, because this one was made in Great Britain, let's see if you're gonna be able to see that. Kind of doubt it. It's bad when the cap casts a shadow on it, but it says in the middle, ever ready through the middle, made in Great Britain. So basically the same as the American gem featherweight, but again, this was the ever ready branding and made in Great Britain. I didn't have a great experience with the gem featherweight when I used it well over a year now, and so a friend offered to give me this one, and so thank you very much. It's been fun to try this one out again. Let's just go ahead and load the razor while we have it open. We're going to be using a PTFE blade. Would not recommend you use any other sort of gem blade, but you do you. And you just put the blade in behind the blade stops, make sure it looks good, and snap it down. So there you go. That's the Ever Ready Featherweight. Pretty mild razor, pretty head heavy because of the plastic handle, but we'll talk more about that as we go. For the soap today, you can't see it because it's just a sample, but a friend in Australia sent me a sample of Face Fat soap, which is an artisan soap maker down there. And this particular one is called Iced Orange. It was released as an exclusive for an Australian shaving forum some time back. So to any of the Aussie viewers who might be here because of the face fat in the video title, greetings to you. This is a nice scent. It's iced orange, so it's mentholated soap, but quite a dark color. And the orange scent is really pleasant. I mean, I know orange and menthol, there are probably some of you who have been saying, man, I've been using soaps like that for years and years, but for me, this is one of my first outings with soaps like this. So it's a nice scent, and the only thing with it is I haven't quite been able to perfectly dial in the lather, and so I reached out to my friend who gifted me it and also to someone else, and they recommended, well, just to be on the safe side, why don't you use a synthetic brush with it, because I wasn't using a synthetic earlier, and I think that's probably a good suggestion. So we'll be using the Yaqi Rainbow Synthetic today to lather up the Face Fat soap. I'm gonna go ahead and wet my face, and then I'll bring it back in when I'm about to start loading the soap. All right, we put some warm water on the face. We just wet the brush through so that it is lightly wet. And then let's go ahead and start loading the soap. As far as I know, this is a, sorry about the clinking. As far as I know, this is a vegan soap base. And so it is possible that and based on the ingredients list, which I'm not sure if it is listed in the correct order, technically you're supposed to, when you have a list of ingredients on the soap, you're supposed to put them in the order from, most concentration to the least. And so it is possible that there's quite a bit of coconut oil in the soap, which isn't necessarily a bad thing, but in my experience with those kinds of soaps, you have to be really sure not to put too much water in up front, or else you can kind of get a bubbly kind of lather, that's what was happening to me. Bubbly and or dissipating. That was more the issue, is the lather actually looked quite good when I would start all these passes, but then it would start to dissipate. So that was kind of weird. Usually don't have that experience with soaps, but The other thing I'm trying to do as well is make sure I just load a ton of soap. That was also a suggestion by both of my comrades, so to speak. So this is like plenty. So let's add just one more douse of water into the bowl. I added one previously while I was talking. Let's add one more, do a little bit more working around, and we'll see if we're not good to go. I scooped probably half teaspoon or more again, just in the spirit, make sure I'm picking up plenty of soap, because that's always a bummer, you know, when you don't use enough, and that can mess up your whole operation. Okay, so to me, this is looking like a good beginning. For my preferences, it's still too dry, just because of the texture of it. But let's see when we start to work it on the face here, how it develops, and see if we need to add some more water or what the deal is. So definitely going on pretty thick and pasty, which is okay. That's what we were kind of going for here. Make sure that we're getting enough soap and not watering it down too quickly. So I'll just kind of keep adding water. Again, I hope everybody's doing well. Today's Saturday, and I got called a couple days ago, last minute, to play tonight. I'm going to be playing a wedding this evening, and that happens a lot in our business. I mean, I guess it depends on the band you're working with. Certainly if it's a touring group, people don't sub out last minute, but for kind of local gigs, it's pretty common that people will need to sub out, as we say, for some other reason, and so then you have to find somebody to fill their shoes. And I'm happy and lucky that they called me, and so this has been fun because they only called me for this maybe 4 days ago, and so I've spent the last however many days going through, seeing if I can learn these songs, because I don't know, I'd say the majority of the songs I haven't necessarily heard before. Maybe I've heard or played like 30-40% of them, but certainly not the majority. So that'll be fun to do tonight, and yeah, as I mentioned last video, or maybe the video before, certainly good to be back playing for people again. There's just nothing quite like it. So the lather is getting better. It's still a little thick for my preferences, and I did want to mention about the menthol level. In my experience, in the past couple shaves, it gets more intense as you go, but at this point, it's not too strong. So at this point in the shave, I don't feel too much of the cooling, but it is, you know, present. It's just not particularly strong at this point. However, I think that'll change in a little bit of time. Okay, let's do one more and see where that puts us. All right, we're back, and so this is a little kind of thicker than I would normally like for my lather, but for now, let's just leave it like this, and we can always add more on the successive passes. So here's pass 1 with the Ever Ready Featherweight. Try to hold it kind of right about here so that I can have some control where the, you know, heaviest part of the razor is, which is up front. Definitely head heavy. So again, relatively mild shaver, I'd say. Give me 1 second here. There we go. I have this issue here at this new place where the faucet itself is not noisy, but the drain is noisy. So I've had to kind of adapt my setup here. I might be just imagining this, but it feels like maybe The British Eveready version is a bit more efficient, aggressive than the American counterpart. Which I think is probably a good thing. Some of these milder gem razors like this can feel a little bit frustratingly mild depending on your preferences. Forgot to mention we are dealing with 2 days growth, kind of my standard amount. Just remind everybody that the audio feedback from these razors is definitely terrific, but I found myself wanting to push down more because of that great sound. And so here's my tip for you, is to take it easy with the pressure. All right, good first pass. I'll rinse and bring back in for pass number 2. Pass number 2. As I mentioned, the menthol feeling is definitely coming up a bit stronger now. Let's do second pass across the grain mostly. All right, second pass complete. Very nice, comfortable. We'll rinse and then bring it back in for the final third pass. All right, here we go, final third pass. And here we go, third pass against the grain with the Eveready Featherweight. Those of you who don't follow me on other social media platforms, you might be interested to know that I did finish that tub of Summer Break Soap's Bell Ringer this week. I was quite proud of that. That is the second soap I finished in my time, and maybe next month for August I'll add another to the list. And I guess that has been the schedule this week, was used Bell Ringer once or twice and I was finished, and then I switched over to iced orange here. Interestingly, though I loaded more soap today than I did the other days, For some reason, the menthol cooling doesn't seem as intense. I'm not sure why that is. You would think it would be the opposite, but again, normally I'm not a big fan of menthol in soaps, but I think for just a sample like this, and also for, you know, this particular scent, the orange, I think it works very, very well. Again, I'm probably late to the show on this. So my general thoughts about this razor are that it's kind of like the later model Kex for Gillette, and that it's, you know, a cheap kind of well, they were sold cheaper back then, and also the materials they used were a bit cheaper, and so, you know, you can find these now for $5 or less even. And so if that value proposition interests you, then, you know, why not pick one of these up for $5? However, from my perspective, we're like living in the modern world, looking back at the vintage world, we have options, right? For just a few bucks more, you could get something that I might prefer more, just really because of the balance. I don't mind the plastic, it's just that it's, the balance is a little strange for me. Maybe for you, it wouldn't be a big deal. We'll check around now, see if there are any spots that I missed badly. A little there is pretty standard for me. All good. So, can't complain about the results with this razor. Just again, I think for me, it's just the balancing thing. Anyway, I'll rinse and then I'll come back and talk to you real quick over post-shave. For post-shave today, we're going to be using Chatillon Looks post-shave toner yet again, but in this case, we're going to be using Champs de Lavande, sort of a lavender scent. I don't think he makes this anymore. Maybe it's in a declaration grooming soap. I don't really remember. But let's just do a few douses of this and we'll see what we think of this. I've never worn this before, just kind of smelled it. It's a very kind of syrupy. I don't know if that's a word in fragrance, but it smells like, yeah, syrupy lavender. Kind of interesting. We'll see how it changes, because it does change a little bit as you wear it. But anyway, that's nice to try. And I did notice how dark this particular bottle of liquid was. I'm not sure if it means anything. Okay, let's do a final recap, and then I'm gonna say goodbye to you all. We use the Ever Ready Featherweight. Certainly not a bad shaver by any means, just I prefer other ones. So thank you to my friend who sent this my way to confirm my opinion of it. We use the Yaqi Rainbow 26mm synthetic. That's been kind of my go-to synthetic these days. And then we use the Face Fat Iced Orange, which was very nice. So thank you all so much, especially if you made it this far. I'm going to be trying out as many new products as I can between now and August, because I believe I will be doing Austere August again this year, which is where you use the same gear every day for the whole month. So again, trying to try out as many things as I can before that happens. Anyway, thank you all so much. This has been HG Shaves. Take care. See you next time. Goodbye.